In the fifth year of being a dink, dual income without kids, my hubby brought back the kid of his late first flame. I wasn't down to raise the kid, and then my man threatened to ditch me. Powerlessly, I gave in. As the adopted daughter grew up, she didn't get into her dream uni because her grades were crap. To my shock, my hubby planned to use the cash I saved for cancer treatment to send her abroad for studies. When I was on death's door, my husband rolled up to my hospital bed, holding hands with his deceased first love, who was smirking, thanking me for raising their daughter and brother Marcus for 18 years. Only then did I realize his first love had faked her death, just so my husband could bring their illegitimate daughter home and raise her properly. When I blinked open my eyes again, I was back to the day my husband was about to hit up the funeral of his first love. I mean, what's the point arguing with someone who's dead? Sophia is already gone. Even as just a regular friend, I should go pay my respects, right? You're getting more narrow-minded and all about making crazy demands, the voice of young Marcus echoed in my ears. I glanced down at the black suit in my arms and then knew I'd been reincarnated. And today was exactly the day Marcus was set to attend Sophia's funeral. I gripped the custom-made suit tightly, feeling anger bubbling inside, but I held it back. I stood up with a grin and handed the suit to Marcus. I think you're right. We gotta respect the dead. It's only fair we go and pay our respects. Hearing that, Marcus immediately relaxed his eyebrows. Babe, are you for real? I nodded, and Marcus grabbed the suit and happily went to change. In my past life, on this very day, Marcus said Sophia died in a car crash. After hitting her funeral, he actually brought back his and Sophia's illegitimate daughter. He lived in my villa, cruised my fancy car, and blew the money I earned. Yet he still expected me to raise his illegitimate daughter and his mistress. This time, I'll make sure they all pay up. Marcus put on that custom suit and was in high spirits, ready to head out. When he saw me standing at the door with my bag, waiting for him, his smile froze. Babe, you heading out too? Aren't we going to Sophia's funeral? Hurry or we'll miss the morning deadline. I smiled and took his arm, pulling him to leave, but Marcus froze on the spot and wouldn't budge. Babe, what are you gonna do at Sophia's funeral? Everyone knows you and Sophia never got along. Ain't you just gonna stir things up for her fam? Sophia and I were college classmates. We were always clashing. I thought she was stuck up and she thought I was too money hungry. With Marcus in the mix, I barely gave Sophia a second glance. My eyes darkened. Marcus, I'm more than willing to pay my respects to Sophia. How's that making things tough for her? Am I gonna mess up the funeral or skip out on burial costs? Babe, that's not what I meant. I just think it's scorching hot today. It'll be a hassle for you to make the trip. Just chill at home and rest up. I'll surprise you big time when I get back tonight. Marcus tried to stop me from going. I sneered inwardly. That wasn't a surprise at all. It was a death warrant for me. Hubby, you've been trying to keep me from going to Sophia's funeral. Don't you have something to hide? Hearing that, Marcus's face showed a bit of discomfort. Alicia, you're always overthinking. Sophia's already dead. What could I possibly be hiding? If you don't trust me, go check for yourself. Anyway, I've got a clear conscience. What a clear conscience. In my past life, Marcus exploited my love for him. Anyway, I've got a clear conscience. What a clear conscience. In my past life, Marcus took advantage of my love for him. Every time I questioned him, he'd just flip the script, throw a tantrum because I didn't trust him, and I'd always be the first to make up. Now, seeing his true colors, there's nothing left in my heart but hate. I sneered and led the way out of the house. Since you've got a clear conscience, let's roll. Marcus was stunned. He didn't expect me to react like this, but his pride wouldn't let him do anything else but grit his teeth and follow me out. All the way, Marcus had a gloomy face, while I was a bit hyped and excited. When we got to the scene of Sophia's funeral, her mourning hall was set up in a suburban hotel. As soon as Sophia's mom saw me, her face changed drastically and turned gloomy. Why did you bring her here? My daughter is already dead. Does she still want to make my daughter restless, even in the afterlife? Sophia's mother's voice was loud and rough, instantly drawing the attention of the few relatives and friends in the mourning hall, all gathering around. If I recall right, one of Sophia's friends was live streaming, even coming to the funeral. He didn't forget to start a live stream. See, I told you not to come, but you insisted and made everyone unhappy. Marcus gave me a sideways glance, disgust in his eyes. I looked at Sophia's mom and saw a little girl about 5 years old trailing behind her. It was Luna. the illegitimate daughter of Sophia and Marcus. At this moment, Luna was staring at me with a vicious look. Uncle Marcus, is this your wife? She's not half as pretty as my mom. What Luna said was exactly the same as when Marcus first brought her home in my previous life. Her voice was crisp and clear, with a touch of precociousness, no childishness a kid her age should have, and she was super snobby. Yes, this is Uncle's wife and will be your mother from now on. Marcus walked over and took Luna's hand, gently tucking her hair behind her ear with a loving look. Wait a minute, Marcus. What do you mean? Marcus took my hand and patiently coaxed me. Babe, anyway, we're dink. Took my hand and patiently coaxed me. Babe, anyway, we're dink. Since Sophia's dead, only Luna and her grandma are left. Let's adopt her. I shook off Marcus's hand and my face turned cold. I don't agree. The reason I chose to be dink was that I didn't like kids. Now you even want me to adopt Sophia's child. What's up with you? Marcus was embarrassed as his face couldn't hold up after I contradicted him in public. Alicia, how can you be so heartless? This kid has lost her mom and has no one to rely on. How can you say such things? Don't you have any compassion? Besides, it was you who forced me to get a vasectomy when we decided to be dink. I've always liked kids. If it weren't for you, would I have chosen to be dink? As soon as Marcus said that, the whole place exploded and people started pointing at me and talking about me. This woman is so vicious and she forced him to get a vasectomy. Isn't that forcing him to have no kids? She's not afraid of getting back at me. Look at her. She's so difficult to get along with. It doesn't take much for her to adopt a little girl. Look how arrogant she is. I gave them a cold look. You make it sound so easy. Then you adopt her. With just that one sentence, they immediately shut up. And you got a vasectomy not because of me, but because your sperm survival rate was too low and your fertility chances were slim to begin with. Don't put all the blame on me. Marcus was left speechless by my comeback and was also exposed in public by me. His face was darker than charcoal. Alicia, you're getting more and more into making unreasonable demands. I really can't communicate with you. After saying that, Marcus stormed inside. When Sophia's mother saw Marcus go in, she immediately called for people to start the mourning ceremony. I sneered. There was no way I would let them have their way. Suddenly, several people in white coats rushed in from outside the door. Hey, everyone! Miss Sophia signed an organ donation agreement before her death. We just got the news that Miss Sophia passed away, so we came here specially to take Miss Sophia to the lab to harvest her organs. Sophia's mother and Marcus exchanged a glance, and Marcus immediately glared at me viciously. Not many people knew Sophia's death. Was it you who did this? I shrugged my shoulders and spread my hands. Don't look at me like that. I'm also doing it for Sophia's good. Donating organs can save more people and make her death more meaningful, right? Moreover, when Sophia signed the organ donation agreement herself, she must have thought the same way. You bitch. When my daughter was alive, you stole her lover. Now that she's dead, you still want her to die without a whole body. Sophia's mother immediately stepped forward, grabbed my collar, and raised her hand to hit me. But I grabbed her hand firmly. Auntie, watch your behavior. Your relatives are live streaming right now. Sophia's organ donation is such a great thing. As her family members, you should be proud. Why are you trying to stop it? Do you have something to hide? Crowd, why are you trying to stop it? Do you have something to hide? Sophia's mother was startled. After looking at the female internet celeb who was live streaming, she looked a bit flustered. What nonsense are you talking about? My daughter is already dead. I just want her to have a whole body after death. Seeing that the situation was off, Marcus pulled me away forcefully. If I hadn't purposely worn a pair of sneakers today, I would have probably been thrown to the ground by now. Alicia, you really disgust me now. Sophia's already dead, but you still don't want to let her go. I was just about to argue when Luna rushed up and started punching and kicking my feet. You bad woman, I'll beat you to death. I won't let you bring people to mess up my mom's funeral. I won't let you steal my dad. I'll beat you to death. I grabbed Luna by the collar and stared at her solemnly. Say that again. Who is your daddy? Luna trembled with fear from my scary look. Her whole body shook and she didn't dare say another word. Seeing this, Marcus immediately hugged Luna into his arms with a distressed look. Alicia, you've gone too far today. I really didn't expect you to be so vicious. I want a divorce. I am the past. I loved him. As long as he argued with me, I would compromise without limits, but in the end, it only led to a tragic death for me. I crossed my arms and looked at him coldly. Fine. Let's hit the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. You'll leave the house with nothing. Marcus was stunned. He didn't expect me to agree so easily. We still need to take Miss Sophia's body back to harvest her organs. Otherwise, if too much time passes, it won't be usable. Please, family members, step aside. Taking advantage of our argument, those several staff members in white coats pushed Sophia's mother aside and walked straight to Sophia's coffin, reaching out as if to touch Sophia lying in the coffin. No way. Whoever dares to touch my daughter today, I'll fight them to the death. Sophia's mother rushed over and threw herself on the coffin. Auntie, what are you doing? Don't you know that you're preventing your daughter from becoming a hero? I walked over and pretended to be filled with righteous indignation as I said this. At this moment, only I noticed that Sophia's hands in the coffin were clenched into fists, and she was so angry she was almost jumping up. Get out of here. I'll kill you, you bitch. It's all your fault. Sophia's mother stood up and glared at me fiercely. I gave the staff members a look, and they immediately got it. Two of them went forward and pulled Sophia's mother away. Auntie, please cooperate with our work. The other two staff members had already put their hands into the coffin. Sophia's mother struggled hard to break free from their grip, and then pulled out a knife from the table, pointing it directly at her own neck. I'll see who dares to touch my daughter. If you dare touch her, I'll kill myself right here in front of you today. Alicia, won't you be satisfied until someone loses their life today? If Andy dies today, you'll be the murderer. Marcus was holding Luna, warning me with a twisted and fierce look on his face. This woman is really despicable. She still wants to harvest the organs of a dead person. What deep hatred she has. She even wants to grind the bones and scatter the ashes of the dead, not afraid of getting back at me. It's really a sin. The crowd couldn't help but start talking among themselves, and the number of people in the live stream room was also rising fast. Just when I was being condemned by thousands online, suddenly one of the staff members shouted, "She's come back to life!" Everyone looked over and saw Sophia sitting up in the coffin, unable to bear it anymore. She pointed at me furiously and cursed loudly. "Alicia, you bitch! I never signed any organ donation agreement at all." There was a sarcastic smile at the corner of my mouth. I know that. The knife in Sophia's mother's hand dropped when she saw her daughter sit up, and she froze on the spot, not daring to move. Everyone was panicked when they saw Sophia, who was supposed to be dead, sitting up at this moment. She's actually come back to life. Is she possessed by a ghost? There must be some injustice. Even the dead have come back to life. Is she a human or a ghost? It's so terrifying. It makes people feel creepy, even in broad daylight. Marcus was the first to react. He rushed over and stood in front of Sophia. "Alicia, it must be because you were too aggressive and made Sophia feel humiliated, so she came back to life. Hurry up and apologize to avoid offending the dead, and be careful of getting retribution." Looking at Marcus, who was speaking plausibly, I just found it ridiculous. We were all well-educated people, but he was trying to play me for a fool and nonsense. I just checked her breath. She clearly has breathing. The several staff members I hired at a high price and who were pretending to be organ removal workers spoke up in time. Seeing that she was exposed, Sophia simply decided not to pretend anymore and climbed out of the coffin directly. I was really hit by a car yesterday. I just woke up suddenly when I heard some noise just now. For some reason, Sophia chose to play dumb? Then you should be careful. I heard that people who are hit by a car but seem unharmed are the most dangerous. Maybe your internal organs are damaged or ruptured. You'd better go to the hospital quickly. I'll call an ambulance for you right away. I immediately took out my phone to dial the emergency number. "No, I think I'm okay. I'm just a little dizzy. It's nothing serious." Sophia hurriedly stopped me. "That won't do. If something really happens to you, everyone will think that I'm the murderer and condemn me later. My man has even said he wants to ditch me. I can't just stand by and watch someone die. I better call an ambulance for you." It's just a phone call that I took out my phone and dialed 120. Seeing this, Marcus directly stepped forward, snatched my phone from me, and then smashed it hard on the ground. "Alicia, are you never gonna stop?" I looked at the smashed phone on the ground and completely darkened my face. "Marcus, have you forgotten whose hubby you are now?" Marcus raised his head and stood in front of Sophia without changing his expression. "Precisely because I'm your husband, I should be more responsible for Sophia and her daughter. If you hadn't made a big fuss at their funeral today, this situation wouldn't have happened. And I'll make the call for you. We'll compensate Sophia's family with 100,000 yuan. And let's just forget about this matter today. Sophia was tightly holding on to Marcus's sleeve, and Luna was tightly hugging Marcus's thigh. It seemed that they were the real family of three, and I was the shameless mistress who didn't know my place. 100,000 yuan? Marcus, you really have the nerve to ask for such a large amount. Since Sophia was hit by a car, she should ask the person who hit her for compensation. What are you playing the fool for here? Over the years, Marcus had spent millions, if not tens of millions, on Sophia and her daughter. Privately, he had been finding every opportunity to give them money, and even transferred the marital property to Sophia's name. Yeah, if she can't find the owner of the car that hit her, I've already called the cops for her. I believe the police will soon help her find the hit-and-run driver. As soon as I finished speaking, a siren sounded outside the hotel, and 2 cops walked in. We received a report that someone died due to a hit-and-run accident and came here specially to investigate. May I ask where the victim's family members are? When Sophia's mother saw the policeman appear, she immediately shrank back like a quail. I immediately pointed at her. Officer, this is the mother of the victim, and this is her daughter. After saying that, I looked meaningfully at Sophia, and the person standing behind my husband now is the victim herself. She said that because her grievance hadn't been resolved, she came back to life. Sophia immediately turned pale, and her hand holding Marcus's sleeve was trembling. Alicia, if you say one more word, believe it or not, I'll tear your mouth apart. Marcus warned me with a gloomy face. I immediately pretended to be scared and hid behind the policeman. Officer, just because I told the truth, my husband is threatening me. I'm so scared. The policeman took a glance at the setup in the morning hall and immediately got the whole story. Then he took out a pair of silver handcuffs. Miss Sophia, please come with us. You can't arrest her. She hasn't stolen or robbed anything, nor has she caused any harm to society. On what grounds are you arresting people randomly? Marcus stood in front of Sophia, trying to stop the police from arresting her. Sir, please don't interfere with the police's handling of the case. Miss Sophia's faked death has already constituted fraud. We need to ask her to come to the police station to find out the specific situation. As soon as the policeman said that, everyone at the scene was shocked. It was a fake death. I was just wondering why they were in such a hurry to hold the funeral when the person who hit her hadn't even been caught yet after she was hit by a car yesterday. Isn't this cheating us out of the burial expenses? She pulled off this fake death for no reason. The Sophia family must have done something wrong. Look at her and Alicia's husband acting like they're so deeply in love. It's obvious that there's something going on between them. Marcus was just speaking plausibly to defend Sophia. Maybe this was all planned by them together. Marcus was pointed at and talked about by the onlookers, and he couldn't hold his face any longer. He stepped aside voluntarily and comfortingly patted Sophia's hand. It's okay. It's just to cooperate with their investigation. It's nothing. As long as we're upright, we don't need to be afraid of unfounded accusations. Sophia's eyes dodged a little, but she still followed the police and left. After Sophia was taken away, Marcus gave me a vicious glare and then went to comfort the scared Luna. I happily left with the staff members I hired and had just arrived home when Marcus followed right behind. As soon as he entered the door, he threw the porcelain placed at the entrance onto the ground. I glanced at the broken porcelain vases all over the floor. The vase you just smashed is worth 1.3 million yuan on the market. That's enough for your Sophia to hold 13 funerals. My attitude immediately made the anger that Marcus had been holding back in his heart explode. He rushed forward and grabbed my collar. Alicia, I've put up with you for a long time. Don't challenge my bottom line again and again. Looking at Marcus's fist about to swing at me, I snorted coldly and signaled with my eyes for him to look at the corner by the door. Think it through. There's surveillance in the house. If you throw this punch, I'll have plenty of ways to send you to jail to reunite with your first love. Marcus took a look at the surveillance on the door, stared at me fixedly, and finally let go of me. Alicia, I won't let this matter rest with you. You must give Sophia and her daughter an explanation. Marcus looked down at me from above, trying to control me as he usually did. I stood up and looked at Marcus, my gaze cold and distant. Marcus, I'll give you those words back exactly as they are. I'll have someone investigate this matter clearly. If I find out there's something between you and Sophia, I'll make sure you know the consequences. After saying that, I turned around and went upstairs. I've already set the trap. Now, all I have to do is wait for the greedy fish and cat to take the bait voluntarily. Marcus is extremely conceited. He doesn't allow anyone to challenge his authority. Today, I've completely fallen out with him over this matter. He'll soon make his next move. What I need to do is put this bait in front of him before he acts. Thanks to a live stream by Sophia's internet celeb friend, the matter of Sophia's fake death immediately caused a huge stir online. Woman fakes death to defraud burial expenses. Woman fakes death and is exposed on the spot. The relationship between the woman who faked death and Alicia's husband, the general manager of the family business, is not ordinary. At the scene of the resurrection, Alicia's husband defends the woman who faked death in public. Each trending search term nailed Sophia and Marcus to the pillar of shame. All I need to do is add fuel to the fire of this public opinion and make the storm even fiercer. In my past life, I was pressured by public opinion, and coupled with Marcus's threat of divorce, I had no choice but to adopt Luna, which led to my tragic death. This time, it's their turn to suffer the backlash. Sophia was soon released. It was Marcus who bailed her out. Her mom had already returned the burial expenses collected from those who came to the funeral. At most, she violated social order and good customs and occupied social resources in this matter without causing much impact. Since Marcus married me, he had been making various excuses to avoid going to work, and moreover, he was overambitious and would only take the position of president. At first, I gave him money to start a company, but he really didn't have a business mind and lost money in whatever he did. Later, he was almost tricked into going to northern Myanmar. Since then, I let him stay at home and rest. However, he had never been content with the status quo. In the evening, Marcus kicked open my door angrily and stood at the entrance with a gloomy face. Alicia, what do you mean? How dare you freeze my card? Marcus had always been using my secondary card, and I had never restricted his spending, which was why he had the nerve to take my money to support his mistress and illegitimate daughter. That's my card and my money. I can freeze it if I want. Do you have any objections? I didn't even look up but kept dealing with my files on the computer. Suddenly, my mobile phone rang. It was an unknown number. After answering the phone, I kept talking on the phone in front of Marcus. Marcus felt ignored by me and became even angrier. Alicia, you must give me an explanation today. Marcus snatched my mobile phone. I gave him a warning glare, and the phone in my other hand still didn't go down. I understand, but this involves a huge amount of money. It's an order worth 100 million yuan. I wouldn't dare to take it even if you gave me 10 times the courage. Besides, if the headquarters found out about this, I'd surely be fired. Marcus's eyes widened instantly when he heard about the huge sum of 100 million yuan. He let go of my hand and patiently waited for me to finish the call. After hanging up the phone, I sighed and looked a bit troubled. You saw it too. There's someone in Myanmar who has a batch of jadeite jewelry and wants to cooperate with me and let me be the agent for distribution. The deposit alone is 20 million yuan. Where am I supposed to get that much money? Marcus's eyes lit up after hearing that. How's the quality of the jadeite? I've heard that Myanmar is rich in jadeite and they're all at wholesale prices. If we can really make this deal, we'll make a fortune. I gave him a sideways glance. What's it to you? Haven't you been angry with me over Sophia's matter these days? Weren't you just being stubborn and challenging me just now? Marcus rolled his eyes, a sly smile appearing at the corners of his mouth. Then he reached out and started to massage my shoulders. Babe, what are you talking about? We're the real family. I was just angry that you didn't give me face. Actually, you're the only one in my heart and only our family matters. I looked back at him. Really? Of course it's true. We've been married for so many years. Don't you know what kind of person I am? Marcus put his arms around my neck, bent down, and rested his head on my neck, but his eyes were fixed brightly on my computer screen. I asked Marcus to go out on the pretext of having more work to do, and then I opened the hidden surveillance system installed at home that was connected to my phone. As soon as Marcus went out, he went downstairs and then came to the small garden downstairs. He took out his phone furtively and made a call. The call was answered quickly. Sophia, don't worry. Although we didn't succeed in getting Luna into Alicia's house this time, I've got a more perfect plan. This time, not only can Luna become my daughter in an above-board way, but you can also become my wife in an open manner. We won't have to hide anymore. The corners of Marcus's mouth turned up, and there was a somewhat eerie look in his eyes. Looking at Marcus imagining the future in the video, I just found it ironic. and ridiculous. The fish had already taken the bait, but who would be the greedy cat? In the next few days, Marcus seemed like a different person. He was extremely considerate to me. Every morning when I went to work, he would thoughtfully send me to the door. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't wait to go out to meet Sophia as soon as I left, I would really have thought that he had mended his ways. Sophia had become a target of public criticism because of the fake death incident that had caused a huge stir online. She didn't dare to go out at all. Luna also received various complaints from the parents of children in the kindergarten due to this incident. Besides, Luna used to bully the weak in school before, so she was directly expelled from the kindergarten and stayed at home. Sophia's mother couldn't bear the criticism and went back to the countryside by herself. The mother and daughter now looked forward to Marcus visiting them every day when they opened their eyes. On the pretext of needing to conduct on-site inspections in Myanmar, I invited Marcus to go there with me. Marcus readily agreed and secretly bought plane tickets for Sophia and her daughter for the day before us to fly to Myanmar. Presumably, she was the wife of the real estate tycoon, Alexander. Of course not. I've long since wanted to marry her. After being taken by the local contact person to check the goods, the other party agreed to offer a 20% discount and sell them to us at a low price. But we had to pay the deposit first. I pretended to be hesitant on the pretext of needing to think about it, and then took Marcus back to the hotel. Why didn't you agree to them just now? A 20% discount. Do you know how much money that is? Some people can't earn that much money in their whole lives. I took off my makeup and looked at him wearily. I don't have that much money at all right now. Besides, for such a big business, I don't think I can handle it. It's better to be cautious. I thought about it, and the money I earn from my current job is enough for our expenses for the rest of our lives. There's no need to take this risk. Obviously, Marcus wasn't satisfied with my answer and frowned deeply. I don't think you'll ever achieve anything big in your life. You don't even know how to see such a good opportunity. After scolding me, Marcus left the hotel on the pretext of going out for a walk. As soon as Marcus left, I took a picture of my Chanel bag on the dressing table and then posted a WeChat moment. Thanks to my husband for the bag. Love you. Less than half an hour after Marcus left, I received photos on my phone showing Marcus hugging Sophia and Luna, the three of them shopping outside. Marcus even splashed out and bought Sophia a limited edition crocodile leather bag. That was a bag that I couldn't bear to buy for myself as a reward, even though I earned millions of yuan a year. After Marcus sent Sophia and her daughter back to the hotel, he went to the jade market alone again. And I was bored, so I went downstairs to the restaurant to have dinner by myself. Coincidentally, I met Sophia taking Luna and arrogantly ordering the front desk to change rooms for her. Do you know who my husband is? My husband will soon become a billionaire. Who do you think you are? I just want to upgrade to a suite. Why won't you handle it for me? I have plenty of money. Sophia's voice was so loud that it attracted everyone's attention in the lobby. Sorry, madam. All our rooms have been booked. There are really no extra suites available. We're really sorry, the front desk attendant said respectfully in not-so-standard Mandarin. But Sophia didn't buy it at all. Then she placed her newly bought crocodile leather bag on the front desk. Do you know how much this bag costs? Over 100,000 yuan. It's a luxury that you can't afford even if you work half your life. I'm not short of money. Hurry up and change a suite for me, or I'll complain about you. As soon as Sophia said this, everyone in the lobby gasped. However, what she didn't notice was that two men in the corner were staring at her greedily, showing off wealth as a big no-no in Myanmar. Since the business deal didn't notice, was that two men in the corner were staring at her greedily, showing off wealth as a big no-no in Myanmar. Since the business deal didn't go through, we soon returned to China. This time, Sophia didn't hide and took the same flight as us. Oh, isn't this our general manager, Alicia? Why are you still carrying an old Chanel bag? Don't you have the money to buy a crocodile leather one? Sophia deliberately dangled her bag in front of my eyes, afraid I wouldn't notice how precious her bag was. I gave her a sideways glance and then took out the purchase record of my leather factory and showed it to her. My Chanel is still a high imitation. If you like it, I can give you one. Sophia waved her hand in disgust. I never carry high imitations. My boyfriend said that I deserve the best. Unlike some people, who don't feel ashamed to carry a high imitation bag when they go out. While saying this, Sophia was also flirting with Marcus, who was sitting beside me. I snorted coldly. Really? Then it means you found a good boyfriend. Sophia was quite proud. Of course, my boyfriend is the best man in the world. I looked at Sophia's coquettish eyes lingering on Marcus and chuckled. Then I wished you and your boyfriend a happy marriage for 100 years and stay together forever. I hoped you could be together life after life. When getting off the plane, Sophia left first. However, she didn't notice that two men on the plane were still staring at her closely. And those two men were exactly the ones who had appeared in the hotel lobby in Myanmar. After returning home, Marcus began to act weirdly, with constant phone calls and messages. On this day, as soon as he got home, Marcus began to act weirdly, with constant phone calls and messages. On this day, as soon as he got home, he mysteriously pulled me into the study. Babe, I've recently taken a liking to an investment project, also in the jadeite business. I want to give it a shot. Could you give me some more money? My expression froze. How much do you want? Marcus held up 2 fingers. 2 million? Marcus shook his head. 20 million? Marcus, you really have the nerve to ask for such a huge amount. You dare to ask for 20 million? Don't you know how much money you've lost in previous business deals? And now you still dare to invest? Have you lost your mind? I pushed him away angrily, and Marcus's face immediately darkened. Alicia, don't look down on me. I'm telling you that I will definitely turn things around this time. Last time, you saw for yourself how profitable the jadeite business is. As long as I close this deal, you'll have to call me General Manager Marcus from now on. Looking at Marcus's smug face, I just felt a chill in my heart. I refused Marcus on the pretext that the company needed to advance funds recently. In the end, we had an unpleasant quarrel, and our relationship hit freezing point again. Sophia had been selling off her assets under her name recently. She sold all her houses and cars. Over the years, Marcus had transferred all his money to Sophia. Coupled with the rising housing prices in the past few years, Sophia could barely scrape together over 20 million yuan. After everything was ready, Marcus came to me again, hoping that I would accompany him to Myanmar to help him negotiate the business deal. But in my heart, I again hoped that I would accompany him to Myanmar to help him negotiate the business deal. But deep down, I knew he hoped I would never come back. On the day of departure, Sophia, as expected, came along as usual. Alicia brother Marcus said he's going to negotiate a big business deal and asked me to bring Luna along to accompany him and also to chill. You won't mind, will you? Sophia said she was sorry, but in fact, her hand had already naturally hooked onto Marcus's arm. Marcus patted her hand with a doting smile. How could she mind? She hasn't even apologized to you, mother and daughter, for what happened last time. Consider this her way of making amends to you this time. While saying this, Marcus picked up Luna, then took Sophia's hand and walked towards the boarding gate on his own, looking just like a happy family of 3. I followed behind, carrying the suitcase, as if I were just a nanny traveling with them. Marcus had completely given up pretending and took off his hypocritical mask, indulging himself in the beautiful dream of getting rich soon. When I go to Myanmar, I must buy an imperial green jade bracelet. I'll make those bitches jealous. Let's see who dares to look down on me or Luna anymore. Okay. And I'll get you a pair of imperial green jade earrings to make you a real lady of luxury. On the plane, Marcus and Sophia were also constantly imagining a wonderful future. As soon as the plane landed, Marcus asked Sophia and Luna to go to the hotel and then took me to the jadeite market to pay the deposit. Marcus's hands were shaking nervously in the car, and he didn't notice the scene where Sophia was dragged forcefully into a van by 2 men at the airport entrance. When we arrived at the market, Marcus found the contact person and transferred 20 million yuan to him in person. Then, on the pretext of going to the factory for an inspection, he left me in the market. As soon as Marcus left, the contact person looked at me and chuckled. It's the first time I've seen someone pay to sell themselves. Do you want to know how much you're worth? I turned my head to look at him. Probably 500,000 yuan. He can't afford a high price to buy my life. Under the pretext of doing the jadeite business, Marcus wanted to trick me into going to Myanmar and sell me. He even didn't hesitate to pay a high price to ask someone to transport me to the darkest Kokang area in Myanmar. However, what he didn't know was that the contact person he thought was my childhood sweetheart and best friend, Ethan, all of this was a trap we set up together. He transferred 20 million yuan to you. As for the 500,000 yuan he paid to buy your life, I bought a jadeite necklace with it and just happened to take it home as a birthday gift for your mother. Ethan looked at me and chuckled, then handed me a jadeite pendant. I gave him a sideways glance. Then do I have to thank you? My figure was reflected in Ethan's deep eyes, and a light smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. You should thank yourself for seeing clearly what kind of person he is this time. My expression changed slightly, and I looked at him in disbelief. What do you mean? Ethan looked up at the blue sky and didn't say anything. On that day, I received a call from my headquarters asking me to return to China to handle official business. So I went back to China. The next day after I returned to China, I received a call from an unknown number. Prepare 10 million yuan or I'll kill the hostage. You'll never see your husband again. I looked at the phone and cursed loudly. Damn scammer, go ahead and kill him if you want. Then I hung up the phone. Later, I received a notice from the police that 2 bodies, a man's and a woman's, were found in Myanmar, and the male body was suspected to be Marcus. Sophia had been targeted by some people because she deliberately showed off her wealth in Myanmar for the first time. Those people followed her back to China. After returning to China, Sophia sold off her property, and the total amount reached 20 million yuan. Those people were even more convinced that Sophia was a big fish. After arriving in Myanmar again, Sophia was captured by those people as soon as she left the airport. Sophia hadn't suffered much before and couldn't bear the beatings. She immediately called Marcus for help. Marcus rushed over right away. Sophia and Marcus were both captured and taken into the industrial park together. Later, those people found that Marcus had no money at all. Coupled with my refusal to ransom them, after squeezing out their last bit of value, they dumped their bodies in the wilderness. As for Luna, I heard that she was trained to become a croupier later on. On my mother's 60th birthday, Ethan, who had been doing the jadeite business in Myanmar, returned to China. He brought back that jadeite business in Myanmar, returned to China. He brought back that jadeite pendant as a birthday gift and became the focus of the whole event. My mother took my hand and sighed. Ethan is a good boy. It's a pity that you two are not meant to be together. Now that you've just lost your husband, it's really a cruel twist of fate. Ethan chuckled and looked at me casually. Auntie, maybe I just like widows. Ethan's side story. I heard that Alicia died of cancer without receiving timely treatment. She died alone in an abandoned villa, and that scoundrel of a husband of hers was celebrating with all her money and his mistress. I really thought it wasn't worth it for her. She had always been such a proud person since childhood. When she died, she was lying on the bed with hardly any clothes on. The hot summer made her body fester and suppurate. I didn't go to see her. I didn't know how to face her. I seemed to be sad, but I didn't know how to describe that sad feeling. It was as if a poisonous snake was coiled around my heart, its fangs dripping with deadly poison, making it impossible for me to sleep at night and making me feel like life was worse than death. I think I still liked her. I had liked her since childhood. I liked her so much that I could step back as long as I knew she was happy. After learning that she got married, I went abroad and started the jadeite business. I never expected that the next time we met would be at her funeral. It was raining heavily that day. I stood alone in front of her tombstone with an umbrella for a long time until an old woman appeared in front of me. She handed me a piece of candy. If you were given another chance to choose, would you want to change the fate between you and her? I held the candy tightly. I would risk everything. After eating the candy and opening my eyes again, I went back to 13 years ago. This time, I will definitely help her get rid of the fate that didn't belong to her in the first place. Just when I couldn't wait to return to China to see her, I received a call from her who was far away in China. Omar, could you please help me this time?